So I've got a story for you about digital ID and my encounter with a truly clueless normie. Now this guy, he's not the brightest crayon in the box. He had 4, right? So it's a pretty stupid bloke, pretty low IQ individual. You know, anyone who had 4 didn't suss it out, you know, can't be that bright, can they? So anyway, when I was over in England, this guy was asking me about, he's one of these ones that he almost certainly will have voted for Remain. So he kind of bought into all of the propaganda that it was going to be impossible for a British national like me to live permanently abroad in an EU country, you know, post-Brexit, because he's clueless, he doesn't think for himself. Anyway, so he starts asking me about that. Oh, are you legal? How can you live there? So I explained to him that I have a residence permit, and it's basically a plastic card, and it lives inside my passport. And the only time that I ever use it is when I'm at the airport and I'm flying to the UK. If I'm going to somewhere else in the Schengen zone, I don't even need to show the residence permit, because actually in the Schengen zone you don't even need to, there is no border controls basically, which does make travel a lot more enjoyable. The only time you do have to show your passport if you're travelling in the Schengen zone is to get your boarding passes if you're going by plane, or on the ferry, you know, to Sweden. I think you have to show your passport to get access to your tickets or whatever. So yeah, my residence permit, I've probably used it twice, and I've been here for 5 years now. So anyway, so this guy, he tries to liken my residence permit card to digital ID, because I've been talking to him about digital ID, and he thinks he's been, you know, the guy who had it 4 times, he thinks he's been really clever by saying, oh well, you've already got a digital ID. It's your he starts referring to my plastic residence permit card as digital ID, which kind of, I don't know. The point of this video then is just to explain to normies. You can use some of these arguments with them, because my feeling is that this guy's probably not alone. There's probably a lot more people who don't actually understand what digital ID will be. You know, it's more than a plastic card that you show alongside your passport, you know, if you're a non-EU national living in an EU country. So let's go through some differences. So the first reason why a digital ID is not like a passport is because in the future your medical information will be loaded up and incorporated into your digital ID. The second difference is my residence permit card or your passport, or it doesn't have any information on it about whether you're claiming benefits or how much income you've earned or how much taxation you've earned. But a digital ID will do. So it will include all of that information to do with your earnings. Second, another add-on that I can see quite likely is in the future you will have to show your digital ID initially to buy high value items, you know, like maybe £1,000 TV or something like that, or a car. You will have to show your digital ID and your purchases will be recorded. So for the benefit of this dumb normie, I've never had to show my residence permit or my passport when I've been buying something. Nor, you know, if you were to scan my passport or my residence permit, it wouldn't give you any information whatsoever on how much I've earned, what I've spent my money on. Nothing like that. Third difference is a passport, a regular passport, or my residence permit, doesn't contain any information about my health status, you know, like such as my vaccine status. You could scan my passport, you could scan my residence permit card, and it will tell you nothing about how many injections I've had or whether I'm on statins or anything like that. Now, with the digital ID, it will do. It will have all your health information loaded on it. I don't know what we're up to now, fourth or fifth difference. Obviously, a regular passport or my residence permit, it won't tell you anything about whether I have a driving license or not, or whether I've got any points on my driving license, or it won't tell you whether I've got a criminal record or not. On the other hand, with a digital ID that's been proposed by the Starmer regime, it will do. All of that information will be incorporated into digital ID. So, you know, of course, China already has this as a system. You know, people have to show their digital ID to buy train tickets and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't need to show my residence permit or my passport to buy a train ticket in Finland, and you know that and this is of course again why we must keep on using cash. We must not allow them to use digital ID as a gateway into social credit systems linked to programmable central bank digital currencies. And I think the point I'm trying to desperately make here is that I think many normies, they're completely ignorant. They haven't, because they've not done their homework again, you know. This guy didn't do any homework and had 4 of them. Incidentally, he kind of admitted to me he's stopped working now because he's absolutely crapping himself, you know, because he had 4, and presumably his health isn't too good. So he sort of said to me, oh, I've only probably got about 15 years left. And this bloke is best part of 10 years younger than me. So, anyway. Oh yeah, one more thing, you know, in the words of Columbo. I don't need my residence permit or my passport to log on to the internet. But you will do if Starmer manages to get his digital ID, and I'm actually going to do a separate video on that as a whole topic, because I think we need to be preparing now for life without the internet, because I'm certainly not up for taking a digital ID just so I can use their stupid internet. I think what we've got to do is, whenever we have an opportunity, is to broach the issue, force the issue with normies. And I don't know, I'm just coming to the feeling now that humiliation, mockery are all legitimate tactics to be used against the smug, dumb normie. And you know, if they use that conspiracy line thing, you know, that's just a conspiracy theory line on you, well, you can just say to them, this ain't a conspiracy theory, it's factual, because this is what they already have in China. Do you not know about this? Oh yeah, but our politicians would never do that. Are you sure? Are you sure? You don't think that they would want that power? You don't think that they would abuse that power if they got it? Wake up. So, conclusions then. Conclusion number 1 is, don't underestimate the ignorance of the average normie, or I don't know, just how stupid they are, basically, and their general ignorance. They will not know, they don't understand what digital ID actually means, what it will involve. They think it's the same as a passport, or as I say, my residence permit that lives inside my passport that I use when I'm going in and out of the Schengen zone. So I think it's our duty to try to explain them to them the links between digital ID social credit systems and programmable CBDCs. I think it's also worth asking them whether they still trust politicians given all that's happened, you know. Maybe use the example of immigration. They've promised, and then they've actually delivered the opposite of what they promised. Many of them will now kind of admit that they were scammed by the kind of the Maxine program. Many will regret having taken part, having chosen, unlike us, chosen to take part in the medical experiment. So there's a good chance that they might listen. For those who come back at that with kind of normie catchphrases, you know, repeater station catchphrases like, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, or, you know, just other such nonsense, then I think my feeling is you've got to go in very, very hard on these people. Like this guy who I was talking to, I actually just said to him, you're bleep words, stupid. You know, you had 4 of those. You stupid, see you next Tuesday. Just be like really, really blunt, I think, with these people. That call them that word that begins with M and ends in an N, and explain to them that their compliance caused mayhem, and they've got to start growing a backbone and start doing what's right, rather than going with the kind of, you know, the other kind of classic normie line is, oh, well, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. You know, and to that you could explain, ask them, like, do you know where that comes from? You know who actually made that quote famous? And it was a German propaganda minister, Goebbels, wasn't it? So be polite, but have no truck with these idiots if you start getting some pre-programmed moronic responses from them. And I think you go in very heavy with mockery, using some sarcasm, or just call them stupid. That you fell for it, you had it 4 times, so therefore by definition you are stupid, because only stupid people would fall for, you know, act like you've got it. And the only symptom, one of the symptoms rather, is that there aren't any symptoms. Anyway, that's all I want to say today, so God bless.